everyone, it's Rachel. In this tutorial, I'll show you how to color realistic dried leaves using the Color Therapy app. If you'd like to follow along, search for this image under Leaves. There's nothing like collecting colorful leaves in the fall. I'll show you how to combine and layer tools to color realistic leaves like these. Okay, so let's start off by tapping to fill in the background and the leaves. I'm going to use the Autumn Fairy palette and set it to gradient. I'm going to use the third color from the right on the second row, and I'll set that to a gradient, a vertical gradient. I'm just going to tap in one of the leaves here, and you can play with the gradients. They don't matter too much. It's just to add a little extra color there for you. And then I'll use the fourth color on the second row, same palette. I'll tap in another leaf, and then I'll use the first color on the second row, and I'll tap in another one. And I'll use the first color on the top row to tap in the last one, just so that now we have a variation of all kinds of different colors. Over in the Autumn palette, I'm using the first color on the top row just to tap in the seed pods. So let's start by adding some texture. We're going to do a lot of layers. Over in the Autumn palette, let's set it to solid now. I'm using the second color on the top row. Select the crystal tool. Let's do opacity 1 and size 100. And let's make sure coloring inside the lines mode is set to on. And we're just going to add texture into all the leaves. I'll zoom in so you can really see well. Just little dots and things. You don't have to do the entire leaf, but just brush it in real quick. This makes the leaf look like it's starting to age a little bit. Okay, back in the Autumn palette, I'm going to use the fourth color from the right on the top row. Now let's use the splatter tool. Let's do size 20 and opacity at 25 and just add some bits of splatter all over the leaves. So you can focus some of the splatters in one section or just spread them out or however you like to do it. There's no rules. You can do a little bit or a lot. Just doing layers and layers of texture. Now let's use the oil tool, size 70, opacity 75. I'm gonna use the same color just to add a few little brown spots, just for some texture. Now let's use the thin fur tool, size 75, opacity 85. So I want you to just sample some colors from the leaves, and then you can just brush them in. It's gonna be very subtle. That's what we're doing, lots of subtle layers. And also, so what we're doing right now is just drawing in some veins, some really subtle veins. You might want to select a darker color here and there too. And then you want to go with the motion and the movement of the leaf. So make sure you curve those lines up to the tips. Now let's head over to the soft pastel tool. Size 80 and opacity 40. I'm going to use the fourth color from the right on the top row of the Autumn palette again. And we're just going to add here and there. Just is going to add a lot more texture, just more and more layers. You can kind of layer them more in a few areas if you want to add more details. And the more you layer, the darker it's going to get. Let's head over to the airbrush tool now. Size 1 and opacity at 75. Now let's use the darkest color from the Autumn palette. And I'm going to be tracing these bigger veins. Okay, I'm going to turn the stroke opacity down a little bit so you can kind of see. And so I'm just going to be tracing along the main arterial veins. So I'm doing this on the lighter ones, the lighter leaves. And then for the darker leaves on the bottom, let's use a lighter color for that. So I'll use the bright yellow from the Autumn palette. This way the veins really stand out. Now we're gonna draw some of the small veins. So let's do the pen tool, size 1 and opacity at 88. So we'll do the same thing. We'll use a yellow, or you can also use the orange from the Autumn palette or a light yellow, and just drawing in the smaller veins. And you can add your own too. So when you add your own, you can bring them out and just kind of split them off like that. Remember just to go with the curve of the leaf too. And then for the lighter leaves, you can use both the dark and the light for the veins. Whatever's gonna show up more. So in this area, I'm gonna use the lighter orange. I'm using the fourth color on the second row of the Autumn palette for this orangey one, so that the veins stand out. Now let's go back to the airbrush tool, size 45 and opacity 65. Okay, so back in the Autumn palette, let's use the darkest color and we're gonna shade the tips of the leaves to really add some dark contrast. I'm gonna turn off my stroke opacity too, so we can really see what's going on. So I'm kind of just going around the edge, making it really nice and dramatic. These leaves are getting crispy, dark, colorful. I'm gonna layer some more in a few areas just for extra drama. You can also add it into the middle of the leaves here and there, just a tiny bit. And the last thing you wanna do is go back with the pen tool again, the same settings. So size 1 opacity at 90, 88 to 90 is fine. And then sample colors from your leaf and add in little detail dots and things and little blemishes on the leaf. to make it really look realistic. You can also sample the lighter areas of the leaf and add little dots. Don't forget to color the background and you're all set. Using the autumn palette is the best choice for this because all the colors you need are already in the palette. If you'd like to see more tutorials like this, don't forget to subscribe to the Color Therapy YouTube channel so you don't miss any new tutorial videos. Thanks for watching our tutorial. You can get the Color Therapy app for free on the App Store.